This is the solving equations for y video. Alright, so this first example we have 4x plus 2y equals 8. So anytime you're solving an equation, we recommend you draw your line down the equal sign. Now we're solving for y, okay? Not x. So we are solving for y. So we want to keep y here on the left and move x and all the numbers over to the right. Okay, just like a normal equation, we recommend that you move the addition and subtraction and then the multiplication and division. The 2 is being multiplied by the y, so we would move that last. So we would move the 4x. The 4x is positive. The opposite of plus or positive is negative or subtraction. Okay, so that'll leave you with a 2y on the left and then 8 minus 4x on the right. Again, these are not like terms. One's a constant and one's a variable, so you cannot subtract them. You don't get 4 of anything. You have an 8 and a minus 4x, so you can write that as 8 minus 4x, or you can write it as negative 4x and a positive 8. We usually put the x first because that matches our y equals mx plus b, okay, which is how we graph. Alright, now we're going to move the 2. This is 2 times y. The opposite of times is divide. When you divide, you have to make sure you divide everything by 2 because that'll change your slope and it'll change your y-intercept. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2x. 8 divided by 2 would be positive 4. So this is your equation. Y equals negative 2x plus 4. From this equation, if you were asked for slope, slope would be the coefficient of x. So that would be negative 2 or negative 2 over 1. And your y-intercept would be positive 4. That's where you cross the y-axis. Alright, again we're solving for y, so draw a line down your equal sign. Okay, we're solving for y, so we want to leave y here on the left and move x to the right. Okay, so you're going to start by taking this positive x, 2x, and subtracting it to the other side. The opposite of positive is negative. So we'll have a negative y. You cannot forget about this negative sign. You'll have a negative y equals 5 minus 2x. Again, those are not like terms, so you'll either have 5 minus 2x or negative 2x and a positive 5. Alright, this negative cannot be forgotten about. You have to bring it down, and now you have to get rid of it. Negative y equals is not the same as y. Okay, negative y is really the same as negative 1y. Okay, and you get rid of a negative 1 times y by dividing. Okay, that changes your whole line. Okay, because a negative divided by a negative here in the slope makes that a positive 2x, which means your slope is positive instead of negative. It changes the direction of your line. Also, a positive divided by a negative over here means that your y-intercept is not plus 5, it's minus 5, which means that it changes the starting point of your graph. So missing that negative, missing dividing by negative completely changes your line. Okay? Alright, so again, if you wanted the slope, slope would be your your coefficient of x, which would be 2 or 2 over 1. And your y-intercept would be your constant, which is negative 5. Alright, again, draw your line down the equal sign. We are solving for y, so we want to leave y here and move our 4x and our 5. Again, I start by moving my x. This is a positive 4x, so we're going to subtract 4x, leaving us with 5y equals 15 minus 4x or negative 4x plus 15. Okay, those are not like terms, so we cannot subtract them. Alright, this is 5 times y. The opposite of times is divide, so you have to divide everything by 5. Okay, Negative 4 over 5 does not reduce, it does not divide, so we're going to leave that as negative 4 over 5. Which is fine because that's our slope, so down 4, right 5, rise over run, it's perfectly fine that it's a fraction. 15 divided by 5 is 3. Okay, so again, if we had asked you for slope and y-intercept, your slope would be your coefficient of x, negative 4 over 5, rise over run, and your y-intercept would be your constant, which would be positive 3, so you would go up 3 on the graph. Alright, again, draw your line down the equal sign. Okay, this is a negative here in front of the 6. Okay, we are solving for y. So we're going to leave y here, so we're going to move the 3 and the negative 6x. Okay, since it's a negative 6, we'll do the opposite and add 6x. My. Okay, we'll be left with 3y equals 18 plus 6x, or positive 6x, and a positive 18. Those are not like terms, so you cannot add them. Okay, and then this is 3 times y. The opposite of times is divide. So you'll have y equals 6 divided by 3 is 2, so we'll have a 2x. 18 divided by 3 is 6. Alright, again, if we asked you for your slope is the coefficient of x, so that would be positive 2. Rise over run means that it would be 2 over 1. Your y-intercept is your constant, and that would be 6. So you will go up 6, plot a point, and then up 2 over 1 to get your other point. Alright, draw your line down the equal sign. Okay, again, we're solving for y, so we're going to leave y here. We're going to move the 2, and we're going to move the 5x. Okay, this is a positive 5x, so the opposite would be to subtract. Okay, so we have a negative 2y. You cannot forget about this negative sign here. Okay, it's very important. It'll change your whole graph. Negative 10 minus 5x, they are not like terms, so you cannot subtract them, so you'll get negative 10 minus 5x or negative 5x minus 10. Alright, now you're going to divide. This is negative 2 times y, so you have to divide by the negative and the 2. You have to make sure you pull that negative along with it. Okay, so y equals negative 5 over negative 2 is really positive. Okay, so instead of your line going down, it's going up. That's a huge difference, so it's very important that you make sure you divide by a negative. Okay, and then 5/2 doesn't reduce or divide, so your slope is 5 over 2 up 5 over 2. Okay, negative divided by a negative over here is also a positive. Again, that changes your graph completely. Instead of starting at negative 5, it's going to start up at 5, and of course 10 divided by 2 is 5. Okay, it's very important that you bring your negatives along in the problem. Okay, if we had asked you, the slope would be your coefficient of x, which is 5/2, rise over run, up 5, right 2, and your slope, your y-intercept would be your constant, which is 5.